What's this funny feeling in my stomach? It's all warm and fuzzy. Could this be enjoyment? Finally, I get to talk about something I actually enjoyed. What? Well, sort of enjoyed. Just bear with me. If you're a fan of classic puppet shows like Sesame Street and the Muppets, and like seeing that genre turned on its head with adult themes and crude humour like in Team America and Avenue Q, and especially if you appreciate the blending of this traditionally child-centered medium with the film noir genre like in that timeless classic Who Framed Roger Rabbit, then you'll probably like the Happytime Murders. This puppet-centered comedy, directed by the son of the legendary puppeteer Jim Henson, is set in a Los Angeles in which humans and puppets live side by side, and follows a puppet private investigator who is teamed up with his former police partner to investigate the murders of the cast of the once famous puppet show, the Happytime Gang. Not only does it join that great class of film that proves that puppets can appeal to an older audience, but it starts off as a great parody of the film noir genre, from the hard-boiled narration and dialogue, which is superbly voiced, as are all the puppets, through the main character being a cynical ex-detective turned private investigator reminiscing about the glory days, right down to the femme fatale who shows up to give him his case. Now, I love all that stuff, so this felt as right up my alley as a leather-bound fist. Speaking of which, the humour in this film can only be described as crude.
50 cents, I'll suck your dick.
Well, it's a great price. It almost makes me wish I had a dick for you to suck.
Oh, I'll take that as a yes.
Very crude.
What do you say to people who say puppets shouldn't be crude?
Well, I say you should probably go yourself with a big fat puppet.
Think a typical Judd Apatow film.
I'm gonna be there to rear your child.
You hear that, Ben? Don't let him near the kid. He wants to rear your child.
Mixed in with the sex scene from Team America, but with more jizz. Yeah, this is one puppet show that's definitely not for kids.
And what do you say to parents who want to take their kids to see the Happytime Murders?
What the is wrong with you? Don't be a douche.
Many of the jokes are what you'd expect from a school playground or a frat house.
I'm in the FBI.
Oh yeah, what's that stand for? Big idiot?
That's the writing of a college graduate right there. Slow down, Walt Whitman. Don't use too many big words or us dum-dums won't be able to keep up.
And while I do like that stuff, and the film got a few laughs out of me and the audience, it's not the hilarious comedy I was hoping for and which I've seen some people calling it. Although the puppets aren't just a gimmick here, and they make a lot of good jokes about the fact that they are puppets, the film relies too heavily on the contrast between the cuteness of the puppets and the raunchy stuff they say and do. And yes, that can be funny. But the film abandons all subtlety pretty much immediately. Hearing a puppet swear is funny maybe once, but the film has the same problem that Sausage Party had. If you hear something swearing too many times in the same sentence, it quickly loses all of its impact. Motherfuckers. And sometimes it does feel like they're trying a bit too hard to be as edgy and shocking with the puppets as possible, which again, there's nothing wrong with in and of itself, but if within the first 10 minutes you've already visited a sex shop and seen a puppet giving another puppet a hand job and another one give a human a spanking, it numbs you to what comes afterwards and makes the rest of the film feel bland in comparison. It also suffers from what I call the Seth Rogen problem, the assumption that just having a character take drugs is funny in and of itself. It's really not. And because Melissa McCarthy's character is quite fond of powdering her nose, you can expect a fair bit of that. Without a shadow of a doubt, the film's biggest disappointment is McCarthy's performance. I know that hating on her is easy and popular, because she's a fucking terrible comedian and actress, but she's really bad in this. Look, I gather it's not meant to be a serious film, but she doesn't fit the role of a police detective at all, which broke any sense of immersion for me. Well, what little was left after watching a puppet give a handjob. All the scenes in which she's the main focus fall flat because she just doesn't have the ability or charisma to make them work. The film industry really needs to tell this woman to
Go yourself with a big fat puppet.
Elizabeth Banks would have been a much better choice for that role, instead of the much smaller part she was actually given. It doesn't completely ruin the movie, but it is a shame. Overall though, the film is funny if you like crude humour and stupid banter. Just don't watch it with grandma. This story does have a serious side. The puppets in this world are considered second-class citizens, and the movie wastes no time in showing it. But aside from a couple of scenes at the beginning which highlight this discrimination, and the use of racist language by both humans and puppets, the film does very little to address or explore the more serious and complex issues that its premise raises. It's there, but it feels like an afterthought. I think the film should have made more of these themes and centered the story around them, or doubled down on its parody of the film noir detective genre, which gets lost towards the middle of the film. As it stands, the movie is a wasted opportunity. Also, I've heard some reviewers saying that this vindicates the claim that the use of puppets is a serious art form.
It's a punch in the nose for everyone, inside and outside of the entertainment industry, who thinks puppeteering isn't a serious art form.
What? No, it isn't. If anything, all it's going to do is convince the doubters that puppets can only ever be used in adult movies if it's in the context of edgy sexual antics and ridiculously over-the-top violence, because the contrast with their childlike appearance is the main source of the humour here. This isn't a serious movie, and it wasn't trying to be. Why else would they use Twitter comments in the film's trailer? And if you try to treat this as anything more than a raunchy, stupid, crude comedy with violent, sexed-up puppets, you're gonna be disappointed.
You need to be high to fully appreciate this movie. No, you don't.
Yes, you do. Don't even lie. The Happytime Murders gets a 5 out of 10 on the Cynical scale. Light up a spliff and go check it out if it sounds like your thing. If not, don't. And if you're a sensitive snowflake, really don't. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought about the Happytime Murders and my review down in the comments. If you enjoyed it, please do check out some of my other videos, and stick around for future reviews. Next up, I'll be taking a look at Disenchantment, because I've heard some very mixed things about it, and I've still got reviews of We Happy Few and Agony to come. So yeah, I'll see you then.